right. Hey, Seth.
Hey, Allie.
We have a Senate candidate today, a candidate for
Okay.
senator. I think this marks our first one on the
Mm-hmm.
show.
For
Very
sure.
exciting. Her name is Alani Bankhead. She is running in Montana, and she is a shero. She is like a mixture of G.I. Jane and James Bond.
Yeah.
Such a badass.
Accurate.
We had to reschedule our previous recording session, and that's the first time I was like super bummed because I really can't wait to talk to her. So let's bring her in. Hello, Alani.
Hey, you guys. Oh my gosh, that was so nice of you to say. I'm so excited to be here with
Uh,
y'all, and I can't wait to get into the conversation.
Yeah, and we're so excited to have you. Welcome to Left Out Loud.
Yeah.
As I told Seth, or as I was telling Seth, you have an insane background. Um, I'm going to read it because I want to get it just right. So, you're a third generation military veteran, having served in the Air Force for over 21 years, hunting terrorists with special operations, chasing spies internationally, and serving as a senior bodyguard to one of the top Pentagon leaders. In addition to that, if that's not enough for you, also, Alani has dedicated her career to combating online exploitation and supporting investigations that put children, families, and communities first. Wow. Wow. The things you've probably seen, like the corruption and the evils, I can't even imagine. I don't think I would want to know about all of them because some people, like you, Alani, are built for that type of work. Others, like me, I would probably never sleep again. So, my first question, I'm going to jump right in with a tough question. Okay. So this administration, and specifically this president, has shown to have pretty strong connections to Jeffrey Epstein.
No.
No, right? I know. And so we've seen Congress pass the Epstein Transparency Act, and I think they kind of had to. I mean,
Of course.
that was like the public pressure was there. There was no way they could vote no on that. And also, members of Congress have met with Epstein's victims. And that's kind of where it stops because we've seen investigations and we've seen accountability outside of the United States of America, but we haven't seen it here. So, with your background in mind, two-part question. Number one, what would you like to see Congress doing in this moment now that they have not done, and how? And what would you do if you were a sitting member of Congress in this situation?
Oh, spicy right out the gate. I love this. Yeah, no, this is a great question. And I mean, it's not just a question of like, what would the plan be? I think it's a question of we are wrestling with the soul of our country with this question. So my background in terms of working child exploitation, and I've worked these cases on 6 continents. So I have a
Mm,
good understanding of like the themes, and you see the same things. It doesn't matter what community, what ethnicity, what religion, like it's the same kind of all around. And unfortunately, power obviously corrupts. And when you're looking at globally, actually, let's start with the United States. So it's 1 in 4 girls, 1 in 6 to 10 boys, depending on the study that you look at, are survivors of this crime. So that's between 68 and 75 million Americans that are survivors of that abuse. And when you talk about like, the other studies, so there was Dr. Bork, he was the head of behavioral psychology for the US Marshal Service. He did the most comprehensive work on predators. And, of course, they start with everybody seen to catch a predator. They'll be like, no,
yeah,
no, no, it was my first time. I didn't, it was an accident,
right.
whatever. Then they put them on a polygraph, and it was like 85% failed the polygraph. And on average, they each had 8 victims. So when you talk about, I think the statistic right now is about 10%, and it's a guess, right? 10% of men are perpetrating this. That's still 10% of men in government.
Mhm.
Um, and so unfortunately, when you're in those positions of power and you've engaged in any kind of like sexually inappropriate type of thing, you're either going to, protect yourself, you're going to protect your buddy, or if you're, let's say you're a good person and you did some stuff back in the day that, you feel shame about or whatever, there's that element of, well, who am I to say something because I would be a total hypocrite? Like, right. So
Right.
it's really kind of complicated, but at the end of the day, the simple answer is there's no appetite because America and its legislators do not actually value children. They don't actually value vulnerable populations. When it comes to trafficking, right, it's awful. There's more modern slaves today in the world than there were back when America had slaves. And that's because, if you want to talk about drug trafficking, for example, you have to manufacture a drug and then you have to sell it and then it's consumed. Now you got to make another drug, right? Humans are a renewable resource. You just have to
Mm,
feed it and give it water and make sure it's still alive. So that's why it's become so popular and it's exploded in popularity. And then on the flip side, you've got the mental health crisis in the country, right?
mhm.
I'm a root cause person. When I see like addictive, inappropriate behaviors like that, I'm like, what's the trauma that led to that behavior and how do we address that? Right. And so there's a lot of unhealed trauma. There's a lot of people who, because of toxic masculinity, whatever, they don't value healing those things, right? So there's just all kinds of reasons for it. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is we elected people that are bought off by the Epstein class, by the way.
Mhm.
And they're not going to hold them to account because they want to be reelected. And then you have a segment that are also engaging in those activities who aren't going to hold the Epstein class accountable. And then you have, the other folks that they are trying their best, but they just don't understand the space and aren't able to like coalesce together to get
Right.
that momentum to seek that justice.
Let me ask you a quick follow-up. Look, I don't know what the legality of this is, but could the members of Congress that have met with the Epstein victims have a list of names that those victims have provided? Could they publicly call on the DOJ to investigate the people that the victims have provided to them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So Congress's job, right? Like the checks and balance system is brilliant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Congress was intended to check the executive branch. And we all know that that's not happening, right? Like he's doing whatever he wants and there's no accountability. Now, this is not about purely like you did a bad thing and I'm going to punish you. It's about having proper governance at the end of the
Right.
day. So, in terms of Congress, I looked this up a while ago. I don't remember the exact year. So Congress actually has arrest authority, and they have not arrested someone since at least 1920, I think. And I'm a justice seeker. Like when a judge tells you you're subpoenaed, you show up to court or you go to
Mm-hmm.
jail. Like there's consequences.
Right.
So all these political games where people get subpoenaed by Congress and they're not held accountable when they don't show up, that perpetuates this lack of accountability. So if we were blank slating Congress right now, you know, I think the primary responsibility is clawing back that power that they ceded to the executive branch and restore what the founders intended, which is the executive can't do whatever it wants. It has to be held accountable. And so that would include, you know what, DOJ, you are going to investigate this. Otherwise, there's consequences. We're going to pull your funding. That's by far the number one. That's actually the only thing that
Yeah.
will actually get government doing anything. And me working in the space a long time, I would try to like coordinate and collaborate and do all those,
Mm-hmm.
no, when you take their money away, all of a
Right.
sudden everybody's jumping through hoops.
I
um
bet.
yeah, and so that's one of the things that I plan on doing for like the Bureau of Indian Affairs, right? I mean, trafficking and sex abuse is rampant on the reservations.
Mm.
Everybody in federal law enforcement and at the res knows that BIA is a problem,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm like, just wait till we get to Congress, right? But so what Congress needs to do is set the guidelines for the people of America expect accountability for Epstein.
Mm-hmm.
Accountability looks like investigations, it looks like putting people in jail. You will do that, you will report to Congress. And if you don't do those things, then leaders will be held accountable. They get impeached, right? They get removed from office. They get fired, for for not doing what they're supposed to do. And that's how things start moving in the
Yeah.
right direction.
Love it. Love it.
So my first question is a two-parter. And so, as somebody who is in the military, I need to do two things from you. One, obviously, we know that the things that this administration has done to the military, to disadvantage it through multiple ways. I would like you to just let our audience know just one or two of the issues that you feel like are the worst kinds of issues that this administration has given y'all. One and two, I gotta know what y'all think of Pete Hegseth, because this guy is a character of from another dimension, and so I need to know what you guys think, what veterans think about him, and like I said, just what how do you feel like this administration has hurt the military the
Oh
most?
man. Yeah, these are great questions. So I think the best way I could answer your first part is, I grew up in the military, so I've been around these populations for a long time, and I could feel even as a kid that the relationship between the military and the people of America was really special. Post Gulf War, it was parades and like I remember yellow ribbons being on everything, right,
Mhm.
during the Gulf War. And on when I deployed to Iraq, we have NATO, and so you have your partners, and you talk to people from other countries. And I remember one time one of the NATO guys was like, "You're so lucky. You guys get tax-free money when you deploy." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "You guys don't?" And they're like, "No." And I Googled it, and at the time we were the only country that gave tax-free pay to our
Right.
folks. And that was the beginning for me of getting that perspective of really understanding how much the American people, at least at the time, loved and
Yeah.
appreciated their military. And when you looked at the polls, the military was the most trusted institution
Mm.
out of all of them at the time. And so, unfortunately, now, because of what happened in Minneapolis, right? So, the administration was deploying the National Guard, which Posse Comitatus is an act that was signed into law after the Civil War. So, post Civil War, the South basically was like, we don't want to integrate. So, they used their army to do bad things to African Americans. And so, the Posse Comitatus Act said, you cannot use your military for law enforcement functions. They are national security, so like protecting the country, not dealing with crimes within the country, right? And so um even with me as a military agent, I had very strict rules on arresting civilians, when I could do it, when I couldn't. And so deploying the National Guard against our own people starts to erode that trust that
Yeah.
we've had since World War II, right? And that's the part that breaks my heart the most, because we are really special, and I'm so thankful for that relationship that we have with our people. And I mean, I, as a military and a law enforcement officer, I can't imagine walking into any community and having people not feel safe when I'm there. Like, that breaks
Mhm.
my heart. That's not the point, you know what I mean? So the administration's really done a lot to destroy that trust, and it's literally the optics of it, right? So seeing someone in a uniform, in a military uniform, in Minneapolis, in DC,
Mm.
guarding against our own people.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And so on the flip side, I think your other question had to do with
Pete Hegseth.
oh yeah, Petey. I retired in February specifically so I could say whatever I wanted, and Petey can't put me in jail.
Mm.
Um, so he is, how do I describe this? I mean, the vast majority of veterans don't respect him. He's completely unqualified for the job, first of
Yeah.
all. He got in a lot of trouble, right? Like the sex assault allegations, the alcoholism. Um, I will tell you that, I was a senior Pentagon bodyguard, so I
Yeah.
know lots of bodyguards, and
Mhm.
including the Secretary of Defense's team. He has a whole like makeup like setup in his office.
Ugh.
So the Secretary of Defense has gender affirming care
So
while he's
alpha.
kicking out trans people from the military. Oh, it's
No.
yes, yes, it's hilarious.
Oh
So,
my
so
God.
You
it's
know,
like,
he is always like so greased up and like has his hair just
Pancaked.
perfect.
Yeah.
It is so interesting how these, you know, big, strong, you know, alpha males who are like always talking about how big and bad they are, and we need to get everybody, you know, skinny and
Well,
get everybody ripped in the gut in the military, no fatties,
yeah,
stuff like that.
he still thinks he's a Fox News host because when you're going to Fox News every day, they're putting you in that makeup chair, they're getting you camera ready,
Mhm.
and he's never transitioned from that mindset. That's all he is, that's all he will ever be.
yep, yep, yep. And even, I mean, a lot of my military friends are conservative, like very
Mhm.
conservative. And even they're like, no, like,
Yeah.
no, no, no. And
Absolutely.
even let's talk about the war in Iran, which is illegal, by the way. And I'm a national security girl. I believe in strong borders. I believe in
Mhm.
protecting the country. This is illegal. And um, especially post global war on terror, you have a whole generation of veterans that have PTSD, myself included, right? Like you went through all this hell, you saw the worst of the worst of humanity. Any veteran that tells you I want the next generation to go through that is
Yeah.
like psycho,
Right.
right? So everybody I know is just like, I mean, we're down for a righteous war because we love this country, but this is not righteous, and we don't
Mhm.
want our young folks going to this war.
Right.
So conscientious objectors are up over 1,000% in the military, and I get it. It's hard. Like, I mean, being in the military is really, really hard, but then to be part of something that you're like, I think we're the bad guys, must
Yeah.
be crazy, you know?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So I've
Oh.
got lots of thoughts about Pete, but I'm gonna try to be professional and keep it at that.
Mhm. Mhm. Although I love that little tidbit, so
Oh yeah.
that's very
Might have to clip
titillating.
that.
For sure. For sure. So you live in Montana. I've never been. I've only heard about its majestic beauty. But you also talk about Montana having the right stuff to unite the country. And so being a resident there, tell us about, what it is about community members and the culture of Montana that you feel could help heal a divided nation.
I love this question. Okay, so I've been to over 80 countries and I've been to almost every state in this country. And I do leadership development nationally and internationally. So I get a
Mhm.
lot of like culture,
Yep.
understanding. I'm in counterintelligence and human intelligence. So literally our job is to read culture and right.
Hmm.
But Montana has this really unique mixture of values. So it's community, um, common sense, hard work, family, freedom. And I mean, those sound like, okay, Alani,
Right.
like most places have that. No, no, no. In Montana, if you like, it snows here 8 months out of the year, but not this past year because global warming.
Sure.
But normally when if you like get into a snow ditch or something like that, the first car that passes will stop every time. Um,
Amazing.
People wave like when you're driving, like people
Hmm.
will wave at you on the side roads. It's like mandatory. We were 10 minutes into town pulling luggage out of our car, and our neighbor comes over and is like, "Hey, welcome. I brought you guys some beers." And we're like, "What is happening?" Like, this is amazing. Because if you look at the history of Montana, when folks migrated over, all you had was that community. So if your
Yeah.
fence breaks, if you get sick, and it's a very heavy agriculture community, right? Like you have to depend on each other and you can't let something as stupid as politics get in the way of that. So that's already
Hmm.
built into the culture. The other thing is um common sense. Oh my gosh. It drives me nuts how pundits nationally are like, Montana's red. I'm like, y'all clearly have not been here because
Hmm.
Montana is a very purple state. In Montana, it's one of two states where you can buy weed legally and open carry a weapon without a permit.
Wow.
Montanans are like, I want my weed, I want my guns, and leave me alone. That's
Yeah.
how Montanans are. They're very much live and let live. And so when I talk to people around the state, and You know, if you're born and raised here, you don't know how special that is, but I'm an investigator, so I bring evidence, right?
Mm.
I'm like, oh no, Montana's special. Um, Last year, Montana made national headlines because they had bipartisan opposition to the sale of public lands via the Big Beautiful Bill.
Mhm.
Um, we also have the Nasty Nine in the state legislature. So it's these 9 Republican legislators that crossed the aisle to ensure that there was like rural health care in place and like hospitals weren't shutting down and stuff. We also have the Montana plan, which is the plan to get dark money out of politics. Hawaii just passed their own law, but I want to be clear. Montana originated the idea. It's just we have to get signatures, get it on the
Yep.
November ballot, right? But I showcase that as like that bipartisan support. You don't find it on this level anywhere else in the country.
Right.
And so when I tell like locals or otherwise that, you know, people are like, "Oh, wow, you're right," you know? And I'm like, "No, like and this is what DC needs. DC needs more common sense
Yeah, what
legislation."
a great model for the federal government,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, exactly. And so my thing is I'm not particularly good at anything. What I am good at is creating the right spaces for the experts to come in, and then I cut through government bureaucratic red tape.
Hmm.
And so the goal is to just get to office so we can bring the experts with us so they can advise and do these common sense things that they're
Yeah,
already doing. And so Montana's a really, really special place. And my hope is through the campaign that we reflect back to the people the real power that they have.
beautiful. Beautiful, Alani. And that's a great, thank you for sharing with both of us and the audience about your experiences in Montana because we talk to people from all over the country. And um, I always feel like I can kind of envision these states a little bit better after talking to candidates. And that was really a beautiful description.
Yeah, because otherwise you get like this, like a stereotypical
Hmm.
description. But when you really go to places, you realize that all the stereotypes that you've been told about are wrong.
Yeah.
And Montana is a very, spread out state. It's one of the fewest for in terms of people per square mile. And so these are different folks, and everybody has like their kind of different culture, right? So it's a beautiful thing, I think. Yeah, and on your website, and part of your campaign is, you're big on helping farmers and ranchers. Obviously, agriculture is massive in Montana, and again, this administration has done very little to help the agriculture industry at large. I wonder, in Montana, what kind of damage are you seeing for farmers and ranchers, and how do you plan to help?
Oh, bruh, it's so bad. Like, it's not even that they're not helping, they're like actively working against the farmers
Nice.
and ranchers. So first we had the 800 million in Argentinian beef that the
Oh,
administration let in, right?
Yeah.
Direct competition with our folks.
Yep.
Um, we sent our government sent money down to South America to support their agriculture community, right?
Oh,
Um,
real quick, Peter Thiel, is just moved to Argentina. The billionaires are fleeing to Argentina,
yeah,
y'all.
yeah, that helped create this mess.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, and then on top of that, right, just like every other industry, um, like venture capital is trying to come in and gobble everything up. And
Yeah.
so you have big ag, right? So like the Purdue's and like, those really big companies, and they're the ones dictating the prices. They're the ones, like just controlling everything about these small businesses. And we do have, I hope I say this right. So Matt Raines is one of our candidates running for the first congressional district.
Mhm.
And he's got a background in ag. And he helped create the first co-op in the state. I think it's actually in the country, where it's like individual small farms that are coming together to support each other, right?
Oh, I
And
love
that,
that.
oh, it's amazing. I mean, it took a lot of work to get it launched,
Yeah.
But when I talk to farmers and ranchers about that kind of concept, it would give them a lot of power back. But unfortunately, one of the other big problems is financing, right? Because you are one bad weather year away from
Hmm.
not getting paid. And
Yep.
so bankruptcies are through the roof. Obviously, mental health in the agriculture community is really, really bad. And when we talk about solutions, like things like almost like an FDIC insurance for farms, right? Where we say like, hey, if you 5 farmers want to get together and each put $1 million in to create your co-op, for the first 6 years, the federal government will insure your business. So if you go in the red, we will provide a no or very low percentage loan or something like that to help out, right?
Brilliant.
That's the kind of policy change we're looking at making that is common sense, that
Mm-hmm.
supports local business, because it's over 80% of Montana businesses are small businesses. So it's the backbone, just like every other state. And I don't think you need a study to show that when you infuse the local economy with money, everybody thrives at the end of the day, right? And
Yeah.
so now I don't have an ag background and I'm very clear about that, but I don't have to respect the people who put food on my table. And
Mm-hmm.
these
Absolutely.
are the hardest working people. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's -80 here, and it does get -80 in Montana.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, it's not that bad actually.
I
It's
like it cold, Alani. So, that doesn't sound so bad to me.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I mean, the administration, it's heartbreaking what they've done. What's worse is the Montana congressional representatives that are supporting the administration doing this. I'm just like, bro, do you forget where you're from? Same thing with
Mm-hmm.
public lands. I'm like, Montanans are obsessive about public lands. Like they are the crown jewels of this country. And
Mm.
like we have our congressional representatives are actively right now voting to open those up to be exploited and sold. And I'm like, maybe if you were from Alabama or like California, but like Montana, like, oh
Right.
yeah, it's bad.
So, maybe one more question before we kind of wind things down, because for the viewers, if you can see Alani's background, which is blurred, she is in her car. Her primary is in 4 days. So she is out canvassing and pushing towards the finish line. You have 4 other Democrats, right,
Mhm.
that are running on this ticket, 3 Republicans. The incumbent is dropping out completely due to health reasons. Um, so how are you feeling right now? I mean, how long have you been campaigning? What is the reception been to you in Montana so far?
Yeah. We're feeling so good. And I'm not saying that just as like oh, we feel really good.
Hmm.
Like, we started this campaign in January because I was on active duty last year. And so if you're on Title 10 orders, you can't do anything political at all. It's illegal. So literally it was like I came off orders and we had to jump right into the campaign. And, people had already been campaigning for one of them like over a year.
Wow.
So I was like, we're gonna give it everything we got, and my team is incredible. Uh, I mean, having a compelling story is helpful in terms of
Hmm.
getting people to pay attention a little bit,
Sure,
right? It gets
sure.
your foot in the door. Um, but I will say, like, there's been a lot of dark money coming into this race, and it's bananas, and why we need Citizens United to go away.
Hmm.
But I'm feeling so thankful. Like, we've talked about it. There's nothing we would do differently. We've gone so hard, and you can see we're neck and neck right now with the original front runner, and
Hmm.
I mean, we think we're gonna win, obviously,
Right, right.
but we just, we'll find out on Tuesday. But I'm just really thankful. And I think part of the campaign too is we are a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And I was on Capitol Hill. I was in the White House. I saw how all those
Hmm.
people worked. You would get a brilliant like Condoleezza Rice or Colin Powell every once in a while, but for the most part, I was looking at these guys and I'm like, "You're running what? Like, this is scary. Like,
Scary.
it's
Yeah.
scary." And part of the campaign is again reflecting back to Montana what their power is, that even though the billionaires have money, we have people, and we
Hmm.
have people that love an underdog. And I've done the impossible before. I mean, um I've done all kinds of crazy miraculous, not me, but like I've done crazy shit in my
Yeah.
career. So the idea of like let's run for Senate and win is, I'm like, okay, what kind of crazy thing are we doing now? But the intent is to inspire Montana and America to remember, like, we are a country of underdogs. We are a country of, like, we will get it done. We didn't look at the Nazis and we're like, what are we going to do if they win? Like, we were like, we're going to
Hmm.
win, and And then we did, right? And
Yeah.
even though we almost lost, like it was hard, but I think we're trying to reflect back more of that spirit to the state through the campaign. And we just want to leave it all out on the field at the end of the day. And I think we've done that. So I'm really thankful. It's been an incredible journey. And
Mhm.
hopefully we get a little bit more runway to November.
Well, I mean, Seth and I are definitely going to be watching that primary on Tuesday, and you're a friend of the show now. And after you win the primary, hopefully you'll come back because there's maybe a million more things I want to talk about, at least. I just want to be conscious of time because you are in that final few days of trying to get that primary win. But Seth gets the final question. This is the question we ask every candidate that comes on the show. So go ahead, Seth.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, like she said, everybody who comes on here, we have a little scale. On one side of the scale is Chuck Schumer. The other side is our guy Bernie Sanders. And so and we love our progressive candidates here. And so we always ask everybody the progressive qualifications. Are you committing to not taking PAC money, foreign
Yes.
entity money, billionaire money?
Yes. None of
Massive
it.
corporation money. There we go. So
None of it.
And you're
obviously,
4 days away from your primary, and you have made
Yeah.
it all the way to the end
yeah,
without any of that.
running a
Yeah.
senator
Yeah.
campaign.
Yeah.
Right.
We're
It's not
totally.
cheap to run in to be
Nope.
be in elections. It should be funded publicly. Like
Yes.
it's not easy to run a campaign like that and
Yep.
get people to see you. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a
Oh
big
yeah,
thing for you.
no. We are totally individual contributions. And it's funny because there's been some misinformation out there where they're like, Alani took 200K of PAC money. And I'm like, folks, check the FEC filings, and
Mhm.
I like people will scream and people are really like their nervous systems are like burnt to a crisp right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Yeah.
really emotional and we try to stay as patient as possible, but sometimes I'm like, I hope you guys saw that one of my platform items is education because critical thinking is really important, like
And it's in short supply.
short
Oh, is
supply.
it
Unfortunately.
ever?
So
No, it's
yeah,
like it is crazy because people will say $200,000. Like, how many TV ads am I running then?
Right.
If I had all this money, I'd be hitting y'all over the head in the local news. You'd see me every commercial break. Like,
Mhm.
it's
literally,
insane.
literally. So yeah. So
Well,
yeah, I'm not taking any dirty money, like none of
yeah.
that. We categorically reject it. And we actually think that you can win without it. And that's what we're gonna prove. So
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. We are wishing you the best of luck. This has been a pleasure. Like I said,
Absolutely.
please say yes to coming back on the show when you win this primary because there's just so much more to talk about. I could talk about I everything for at least an hour. We need way more time. But Alani, we're wishing you all the best on Tuesday, and my fingers are crossed, and I can't wait to see.
thank you so much. You guys are amazing. And can I just say, thank you for hosting this platform, for using your gifts to support democracy. It is so inspiring. When we hear people that are like, I don't think I have anything to offer, I'm like, what's your
Mhm.
favorite thing to do? Offer
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I'm just really thankful because I know it can be hard when you're like, are we making a difference? Like, could we be right? Like all that stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, you guys are crushing it. And I'm so thankful for both, or all three of you, including the producer. And
Thank
I look
you.
forward to being on after we win this primary.
Let's go.
Absolutely. Thank you so much
Let's
for saying
go.
that. We really appreciate it. Alani Bankhead, best of luck. Big future ahead of you. Can't wait to see what happens on Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.
Seth, Alani Bankhead, is she amazing?
Uh, you know, it really is incredible, Allie. If you had given me a blank resume, say,
Mhm.
with like no picture on it, no nothing, you just list the qualifications. There's no way that Alani's supposed to be that nice.
I
It,
know.
it,
That's
it
so
doesn't make any
true.
sense.
So
She's
true.
so nice, so personable. And
Empathetic, kind.
yeah. And so, to have that resume, to have served in our military for as long as she has and grown up in it, and then to take it even further to serve,
Mhm.
taking care of the people who are being trafficked all over the world. She's worked cases in 6 different continents. I mean, this is somebody who is incredibly qualified
She
and
has seen the
passionate.
worst of the worst.
Yeah. And so, like, it's just unbelievable that she's such a nice person.
I know.
And so, like, I mean,
That's
how
such a
can you
great
not
point.
like Alani? How can you
Yeah,
not, Montana? I
I
mean,
know.
that's who your senator should be. A person
Absolutely.
who is, you're not sacrificing the resume to get a nice person. You can have both, Montana. You can have both the things. And
Hmm.
Alani's is one of those. I mean, unbelievable. So glad that we got to talk with her.
Me too.
And I mean, boy, what a great person.
Really pulling for her to win that primary. Her primary is in 4 days from now. So we're gonna push this episode out quickly, so that people can get to know her better. Hopefully, we'll show up in someone's feed that hasn't met her yet or seen her yet.
Yeah.
And we're just really excited to see how that primary goes for her, pulling for her, crossing our fingers. She's the right person for the job.
Right. Any
Bar
of our
none.
West Coast, Midwest people, if you know
Mhm.
people in Montana, please let them know about her.
Yeah.
Please, because this is a person who is in tune with the people of that community. She knows the farming community very well. And she knows that Montana is a different kind of people, right? She talked about they want their guns and they want some cannabis. Like and
Hmm.
and 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 that's a unique blend. You don't get that in many states. So she is a different type of person for a different kind of folks in Montana.
Yeah,
And I mean, she deserves the nomination.
absolutely. All right. So we have another recording session tomorrow. That's for a bonus episode. Pew. And real quick, so Seth, you and I met online. We've never met in person. We met via TikTok and we
Hmm.
showed up on panels in lives together. And then we ended up co-hosting a live together for
That's
over a
right.
year now. And then we decided to get into the podcast space because we really wanted to push change in the country via all of these great progressive candidates that we're meeting and talking to almost every day at this point.
It's unreal.
So much so I'm losing my voice, guys. So I know, crazy. So we are going to be meeting in person in a few weeks because we are traveling
Um,
to cover an event and meet with a special candidate. And let's just keep it there, but it's confirmed. We are going, we are traveling, we are meeting in person. We're going to document it all. I'm so excited, Seth.
Oh, I'm so shocked and so excited, and so much credit goes to you because you really hunted this particular campaign down. And folks, this is one of the biggest names in the progressive movement. Period. It's going to be a treat. You're going to want to tune in for that. I'm gonna bring my fancy schmancy camera and some microphones, and we're gonna do
Yeah,
this thing right. And
yeah.
and hopefully we meet some other people along the way there. And yeah, I mean, I'm juiced up,
I'm so
juiced up.
excited.
Let's go.
So excited. So that's going to be in a few weeks. We're getting a bunch of recording done right now. And we have a little bit of a pause and then like that first week of June. And then we got some traveling to do. So stay tuned for that, you guys. It's really excited. We're so excited. We can't wait to bring that to you. And that's it for today. I'm going to see you bright and early tomorrow morning. I mean, we're talking 12 hours from now. I'm going to be seeing you, Seth. But it's primary
Yeah.
season. Got to do it, baby.
Gotta do it. Let's go.
See you tomorrow.
All right. Bye.
Bye.